afternoon, 5th grade class. I'm going to go ahead and switch gears on you a little bit and have you go ahead and put away your math, and if you can pull out your social studies folder. We've been working all week on understanding and explaining and coming to respect Native American population or the American Indian tribes. You guys are already seated with your tribes that were picked out for you when we began this week, and that's great. And we have spent a lot of time also completing the research planning sheet, which should be on the top of your social studies folder. So just to review that real quickly, why doesn't everybody pull out the research planning sheet, please? What we have learned in the past week about various Native American tribes, as you all are seated with your tribes, is we've gained historical information. That's the first section of the worksheet that you have completed. We've also talked about location and terrain and how that varies from Central Plain Indians to maybe Indians that exist in mountain terrain. We've also spent time talking about natural and other resources that are specific to your tribe. All of this should be recorded on your research planning sheet. We've also spent a lot of time talking about food groups, and how the Native American people have used their land for food and for other resources. We've talked about clothing and shelter. What we've come to know about Native Americans is they are a very resourceful group of people, and they do not waste anything, and that includes using absolutely everything that they possibly can to live in their designated areas. We've also talked about education, how they learn their skills that they need for adulthood, much in the same way or in different ways that you are now learning skills that you will need for adulthood. We've also spent time exploring what they do for crafts and how they communicate themselves through art and music. To follow up, and at the bottom of your sheet, and it should be filled out, we've already explored how your particular tribe comes to participate in recreation or sporting activities. All of this information that is contained on your research planning sheet should be out on the top of your desk. To conclude all this, all the Native American learning that we have been doing, and to help it all make sense for you, what we are going to do now is in your tribe we are going to develop a game. And so what I have for you and what I've brought is just a couple different examples of games. Now, why do we play games? You're right, we play games to have fun. What are some of the other reasons why we play games? Yes, you're right. They do sort of reflect what is important to us at the time. For example, Monopoly's been around for several years. We know how to play the game. You start with an amount of money, you travel around the board, you try to collect money, utilities, you try to collect real estate. How is this reflective of what is social values? You're right, because we all need some place to live. In other games, such as Clue, what's the purpose? How many people play Clue? Okay, tell me, baby, what is the purpose of Clue? You're right. Clue is to figure out who done it, to solve a mystery, to figure out if Mrs. White did it with the candlestick in the library. It's for entertainment, but the purpose or the objective of the game is to be the first player that solves the mystery. Other games such as Upwards, how does this communicate what is important to us? You stack the words and you make different letters and you can add on to what the other players have done. How does this apply to us? You're right, because we need words to communicate, and it's for fun and for entertainment. Mousetrap, what's the objective of this game? Anybody ever played it? You're right, you want to be the mouse that gets through the maze without getting disqualified, or without being out, or without getting stuck in a mousetrap. In any event, each of these games maintain relevance, and some are for entertainment, and some of them aren't. Some of them reflect what is important to us at the time that the game designers designed the game. For the Native American people, what we have learned is that many of their games are not necessarily for entertainment. They're for survival. They're to learn life skills. They are to help them create the skills that they're going to need to do the things that they need to do as adults. And so I tell you this because these are considerations that you may want to factor in into designing your game. So behind the research planning sheet, you have a game design sheet. And we're just going to go through this real quick so everybody knows what the expectations are, because you will be creating this board game around the opportunity for another student to play this board game. And so we need to have a clear understanding of what we're trying to do here. So just to start out, at the top of your sheet, and it's also reflected over there on the board, is you're going to list the game creators, that's your name, excuse me, the assigned tribe, that's the name of the tribe that you were given at the beginning of the week, and the board elements. The board should demonstrate or show things that are important to your tribe, whether that is through ceremony, through hunting, through celebration, some of the things, the concepts that we have spent exploring all week. Game pieces. These would be naturally occurring resources that would be common to your tribe. For example, if you were a Central Plains Indian, then maybe corn is a little bit more accessible to you than if you were a mountain Indian. Game objective, this is going to be something that it needs to be important to your tribe. So as you decide or you determine how you're going to design your game, keep in mind, what do you want other students to know about your tribe? Are you the mouse trying to survive and get to the end of the game without getting trapped? Are you the upwards? Are you trying to communicate through words and through language? Are you the whodunit? Are you the clue people? These are considerations that it's going to be your responsibility to keep in mind as you design your game. Number of players, that's going to be how many players, 2 to 4, 4 to 6, how many players are you going to have play your game? How the play proceeds, it will be your responsibility to develop a list of rules. Just as in Monopoly, over here, the first thing that you see when you open up the game is the rules, so that everybody knows what the expectation is of the game and how they proceed and play. And then lastly, when you give consideration to designing your game, it's important that you determine how your game is going to end. How do you know that the game is ended? Is there one winner? Is there 2 winners? Who wins and how will you know? Any questions about that? Okay, so we will have about an hour, which gives you roughly 15 to 20 minutes to sort of brainstorm and decide what your game is going to be using the research evaluation sheet that you have been filling out all week, and then we will use the remainder of the time to actually create the game. Every tribe has a box of supplies. Every tribe's supplies are exactly the same. It's up to the individual tribe of how they choose to use those supplies. One thing that I do want to point out, behind your game design sheet is the evaluation sheet. We're going to take a few minutes and just go through this because this is how your game is going to be graded. First of all, your style and the neatness of the game is going to be a consideration. People need to know and have clear understanding of what the pieces mean, how they get from A to B, and how they play the game. So your game should include historical information about the environment, the survival, the education, again, what you would like to communicate socially as a community to this classroom through your use of game and play. The design of your game, that will be a factor for how your game is graded. Pieces or tokens, are they relevant to your tribe? Do they have meaning to your tribe? Your game objective, what's the point of your game? All right, that needs to be communicated clearly. How the play goes, how the play proceeds, and how it ends. What we're going to do tomorrow, depending on how well it goes today, is we are going to actually have each tribe explain their game, and all the other tribes will have an opportunity to play one another's tribes. Are there any questions about the grading expectations or what we're doing? All right, I will be coming around throughout the next hour to make sure that everybody's on target, but it is a group interaction, it is a group experience, and so you need to communicate and rely on your other group members to try to problem solve and figure out answers. I'm going to be handing around the boxes when I give the cue, and then everybody can get started. 1, 2, 3, change.